Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Friday, June the 3rd, 2016. It is non-farm payroll. We just had a big drop in the ES on the news. Let's get the disclaimer out of the way first. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. Of course, this is a subscription room. If you want to check us out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com or send me a Skype request at Doug_McKay. I'll be the one from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Let's get the news out of the way first. Come on. I'm going to move over. All right, so we had trade balance 2.9 versus 2.5 for Canada. Labor productivity came in as expected. Hourly average earnings came in as expected. The big one was this big miss right here. Went from prior 160, expected 159, and it came in at 38. I mean, that's huge miss. Unemployment rate is down slightly, and trade balance came in a little bit lower than expected. 9:45, we've got final services PMI, and then we've got another major news announcement at 10 o'clock. ISM non-manufacturing PMI, factory orders, and then Brainerd's going to be speaking, and they've been all now basically saying the same thing, that we're going to see 2 rate hikes in 2016. All depends on when, whether it's going to be July, September, or December. We don't know yet, but they're expecting the rate by the end of the year to be 0.75. All right, so yesterday our main hypothesis was a move with initiative sellers down to between the 90 and a quarter and the 86.75. We actually went right down to that 86.75, the LVN rate there, and then we bounced, and basically we ended up with a trend day, and our hypothesis was a slow grind up all day with a late day probe in to test 2100. So we got up to 2104 and a quarter. We had a measured move that we were looking at yesterday that took us up to 2106.50, that zipper measured move. They got up to 2106 in the Globex, missed it by 2 ticks, and then of course news came out and everything got rebalanced. We're currently right now making new lows in the RTH session. We're trading, just made another new low, 91 and a quarter. So this market is seeing some severe rollover right now. So we don't even know where our lows are going to be yet in the Globex. But it might be an interesting day, but we still have to go through our regular routine. You can see that bonds have spiked. Gold has spiked up all the way to 1240.20 so far. Crude has continued to sell off. Crude had decoupled. They actually led the market down. We were trading at the lows in crude earlier, while we were trading at the highs in ES. So crude seems to be leading today. U.S. Canadian dollar is off. NQ is, everything's off right now in terms of the indices. So let's just go to our macro to micro view, take a look at where we are in the trend. No real disruption on the monthly still. I mean, we're still way above the 9 and the 20, which is sitting all the way down here at the 2040.75 area. Remember that 2040.50 microcomposite VPOC bounce that we were in is down here still, but the trend is still intact on the monthly. On the weekly, same thing. Got good slope, good separation. This move is nothing. I mean, we don't even start testing the trend until we get down to the 2060 250 area. Going to the daily, again, trend is still in place. You know, we don't start testing the trend until we get down to the 2087.04. Going into the intraday is going to be a little bit different. We've now broken back below the 9 and the 20, so we are violating the trend right now. A move back above the 2096 area or the 2098.50. 2098.50 is going to be my key line in the sand above us. It was actually my lower wing that I was targeting on my Ferrari trade. And I got all of that and some more on some size. Going to the 1 hour, you can see that we just had a, what was the size of this move? So we got 21. The scene of the crime number, write this number down, put it in your journal. The NFP return of the scene of the crime is going to be 2105. 2105, and our low is 2091 and a quarter. So that was a 13 3/4 point move on the news. Not the biggest one I've seen, but certainly it was quick. So we are being challenged in the on the 1 hour. You're going to see this going forward. We're probably going to end up with some FUBAR Mr. Sneakies on the larger time frames. We didn't get one on the 5-minute, but as we move down, you can see, you know, we could end up with one here. We definitely have a technical gap, but this is news driven, so this could close through time rather than through price. And we didn't get the FUBAR Mr. Sneaky. We actually, you don't see it very often, but we got the double bottom put in at the 2095. And we did not put a Mr. Sneaky in. So this is still, you know, got some legs to the downside, and I think we will probably balance out and move sideways to close this technical gap. And the reason I say that is if you look at where we are in terms of the bigger picture, we're basically right back inside of this balance of this 6-day, 7-day, if you count the holiday, microcomposite VPOC that centers around 94 and a quarter, and we're trading just under it right now. So we're likely just to chop around in this area now that we've made this move today. Probably come up and test the 2098.50. You can see that the 3-day microcomposite VPOC is, or sorry, 3-day microcomposite value area high is 2098.50. That's why it's going to be my key line in the sand. It also puts us above the 2096.75, the prior microcomposite VPOC. Key line in the sand below still going to remain the same. It's going to be down here at 2082. If we get below 2082, I'm looking for a move down to you know, fill this gap zone in with the main target at the 78.75 right now. But we're back in balance, and we're likely just to chop around. Key note, though, that the 3-day microcomposite VPOC here, sorry, I said it was the 6-day. It's not. It's the 3-day at 2094 and a quarter. The 6-day, 7 days if you count the holidays, down here at 2087.75. So we're likely to, you know, depending on what the ISM news is, likely to chop around between these two areas right here and just fill in this longer term composite and mature the auction here and determine fair value between these two levels here. Going to the overnight, obviously I think we can put our overnight low in, although we do have another 30 minutes to go. Our overnight high is definitely going to be in at 2106. It's going to be our all-time high too. Okay, and our overnight VPOC could shift, but right now it is at 2103.50. We have to keep an eye on all of this, right? Because we're going to be balancing out. We could create a third distribution zone down here around this 93.25 and get a VPOC shift down. But as it stands right now, 2103.50. Sorry, 2103.75. And our overnight low down at 2091.25. And then we've got these three distribution zones now. So the LVN here is at 95. That's 2 ticks below the 95.50. So I'm going to be using the 95.50 as a trade level. And then the 98.50 is going to be my key line in the sand above. Remember that the value areas yesterday do not hold a lot of weight because we had a trend day. So you really have to take the price rejection and acceptance levels and use those, or go longer term or overnight. So that's why I'm using the 95.50 and then the 98. And then basically, if we get above 2100, we have this low volume node that goes all the way up to 175. So I'm going to use the middle of that at 21 as my next trade area. And then above there, target the 03.75, and then the the next trade level is going to be at the range high from yesterday, this week high, for a move to take out the all-time high and the 06. We still have a measured move, although it's probably been negated. I'll have to look at it. Yeah, it will be because of this move on news. But we do have the daily upside ATR is going to change now. So let me just calculate that, 2091.25. Our 20-day ATR is running at 21.59. So we've got, that's not right, 2091.25 plus 21.59 brings it to 21. That can't be right. 21.12? Yeah, I guess it is. 21.12.75, not much change from yesterday. And then off of the overnight high, 21.06 minus 21.59, our downside ATR daily target. Where is it? Yeah, I'll just put a new one on there. It is 2084.50. Okay, and that about gives us all the information we need from the overnight session. So let's just bring this up, expand this out. So obviously we've had a big move down. So I'm expecting my main hypothesis, and again, the caveat to all of this is the fact that we're going to have more news coming out. But with this big move down, we're back in this lower distribution from overnight. What I'm anticipating is an open auction in range, a move down to test the the range low, maybe even the 84, 82 area, find responsive buyers there, and then come up here and balance out, testing the 98.50 and maybe a late day probe to test the 2100s one more time. But basically, I'm looking for a tight range today and balancing out inside of the value area of the 3-day microcomposite, which is basically the 98.50 and the 86, maybe a probe down to 82. So hypo 1 is open auction in range, a move down to take out the overnight low. I doubt we're going to take out the overnight high. Push through, challenge the range low on the bottom. I'm going to use 86.75 as a trade zone as well, and possibly a dip down into the 82, and then rotate back up and just have a grindy day inside the between 2100 and 2086.75. Hypo 2 is a open auction in range, a move up to test the 2100, possibly come up and test the 2103.50 again, and then fail and move back down into this balance area and chop around with maybe a late day probe down to test the 86 or the 82 area. So hypo 2 is a move up, fail to hold the 2100 somewhere between 0350 and 2100, and then fail and come back down into the lower distribution. The nice thing is this is basically, it's an ugly looking double distribution, but you can certainly use the 2098 as your guide, between the two. Whether we get back up into the 2100s today, it's we don't know that. That was a big miss, but we still have unfinished business above. We've created a weak high, a weak Globex high, a weak all-time high with measured moves above and that unequalized high up here at 2134. So even though we've moved down strong on bad news, I still don't think that the all-time high is in yet. This is just a minor glitch. Below, I'm going to use this 89.75 as another trade area. So my hypo 3 is an open auction in range, a push lower to test between the 86 and 82, chop around here, and then fail and come down, okay, and test the midpoint of that gap, okay, and maybe even come down into the 75.50 and see continued weakness come in. Our month open is 2094. So if we get below the 2078.50, we could see capitulation of the actually this is no, it's not going to change. We could see capitulation of the bulls, and we could see a trend day and a move down to close that gap and maybe even test the 71s. I find that as a lower probability. The alternative hypothesis is the open auction in range, come down, find buyers somewhere between the 93 and the 89.75, find responsive buyers, move up and come up and continue through to take out and put in a new all-time high. The critical mass above is all the way up here at 2150. So I'm not thinking we're going to see critical mass to the upside, but there's still a possibility we see it to the downside. So those are my hypos for the day. Again, the caveat being that this market is news driven so far. this morning. We were at a 3.25 point range for most of the night. Expanded it slightly, up to that 06. So 4.25 points before that news that took us down on the bad NFP report. Taking a quick look at gold. Gold is right back up into balance, long-term balance, right here at 1237.60. We talked about this yesterday. If this this 1210, 1209 area held, that we'd likely rotate back up back to the long-term composite. This is the most traded price going all the way back to 2008. I said it was unlikely we get away from it that quickly, and man, we took it all back on news and right back into balance. My anticipation now is gold is going to chop around in this area and have a range-bound trade from 32.10, maybe even down to the 29, up into the 1250, and just chop around in here and find some balance in around this this balance area that we were in for quite some time on this composite or microcomposite VPOC, and just sort of accept this this composite at 1237.60 on the adjusted contract. That's going to complete our pre-market session. It is Friday, and it is a day with a lot of news. If you've been struggling this week or you're new, don't put a lot of risk on the table. Keep your risk tight. You never want to go into the last day of the week and have a big losing day. It'll eat you up over the weekend and blow all the emotional capital that you've got. If you made good money on NFP and you're up on the day and you're up on the week, it might not be a bad day to take an early weekend and enjoy the day, or even just go to Sim and work on some strategies. Anyway, have a good one. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.